Hello, friends. Ellie here, your financial coach. I hope you had a wonderful Saturday here on the evening edition of Conversation with Ellie Mae. I thought that this would also be a very thought-provoking title, which is Three Myths About Retirement Planning You Need to Stop Believing. Before we dive in, I hope that you had an excellent Thanksgiving weekend. Some of you were off on Friday, some of you were not. But I hope you were off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and tomorrow. Now you coast down and relax yourself and get ready for Monday. Because guess what? We got to go back on the grind. Those of you that have a 9 to 5, those of you that are self-employed or run a big business, I know that you're ready for that. But let's dive into the topic. The first thing, let's make this very clear, which is very common. A lot of the first myth, a lot of people think that they have a lot of time to prepare for retirement. And as you know, it's not so. So let's go ahead and dive into these three myths. Like I said, most people, especially you that in your 30s, feel like, something, I have so much time. I have 30, 35 years still to plan for my retirement, but it's not so. And I'll give you a few reasons. First of all, the earlier you start, the better it is. If with anything in life, whether if you're building muscle, losing weight, uh, um, and if you're going to go on a race, if you're going to run a race, you're not going to wait till the week before to start training. Most people start training years in advance, especially if it's a marathon, even if it's for self-satisfaction that they want to run a marathon. Some people start a year in advance. It's not as easy as it seems. Well, the same way with retirement. The more do you delay, the bigger difference it is on how much you have to put aside for that retirement. Let me give you an example. And these are just examples. Let's say you're 25 years old and you put aside $200 a month at 7% return, which is very conservative when it comes to investments. Uh, by the time you're 65, you have $480,000, which is like $500,000, right? But if you wait now 5 years, you would only have $327,000, which is much more that most people do have at retirement. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to give you that example on what happens when you delay and when you postpone, your retirement. You have to, excuse me, the takeaway from that is that you have to start now, no matter your age, and that you have to start now, no matter where you at, right? Another misconception is that Social Security is gonna be there for me or for you, right? We've talked about this before. You work 40 years, 40 hours a week to retire, getting more or less 40% of what you used to make when you were employed. So you cannot depend only on Social Security. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying it's not what you think it is. Like I think I shared with you. I'm not sure if I posted it. I don't have any problem with posting my summary if I was to retire at 60, 60, 62, and 65. And neither of the three amounts is enough for me to live with, right? So that's what I'm saying. That's a big misconception that retirement is going to be enough. I'm not saying that it's not good. I'm just saying it's not going to be enough. If you, whatever you're living off now, which is your whole 100% paycheck, when you retire, you're going to get about 40% off of that. But the bad thing about it is, or the reality is that you're going to need 70 or 80% of what you're making now. So do the math. If you need 7 and 80 and you're going to get 40, there's a big shortfall, isn't it? So what now? The challenges besides that is that the more time goes by, guess what? The cost of living goes up. Number two, um, if you pay attention and read articles and listen to what's going on, it might even be less than what you think, right? So take away from that. You have to start building a retirement plan outside of just depending on Social Security. Some of us have 401ks or Roth IRAs. I could put you in touch for your specific situation with our investment expert in our office. Right now is not the time to talk about that because everybody's situation is separate, it's different. But I always tell you anything that you need, we have it available in our office. But right now, we're just talking in general. Another misconception, number three, is that you'll catch up in saving for your retirement. That goes back to number one. The longer you take to start, the more you have to put away, right? So if at 25 you start putting away $400 a month. Now, of course, a lot of you might say, well, at 25, I don't have $400 to put away a month. Well, you could put $100 a week, or $100 from paycheck, or start at 50, or start a business on the side, or get a part-time job. Anything to start working towards your retirement, correct? Because we don't want to depend no on the government, no on our family members, no after retirement go back to work. So if you start at 40, you see the difference. If you want to have $1 million when you retire, because when you ask people how much money you think you're going to need at retirement, everybody says $1 million. They don't know why. I don't know why. But when I sit with people, they always say a million. But you know why? It's your subconscious, because if you're making $50,000 a year, right? Um, when you multiply it, if you've been working, for X amount of time, if, 40, 50 years out of, let me go ahead and multiply. Let me not, talk fluff. If you're making $50,000 a year and you work 40 years, by the time that you retire in 40 years, that's $2 million. But let's say that you're making $25,000 a year, right? Let's keep it low, and you work for 40 years. By retirement, that's $1 million. So we all, at one point or the other, if we start at at age 25 and work for 40 years and only make $25,000, a lot of us don't think of it. A lot of us, we just think about that yearly. But after your lifespan, after you work for 40 years at 25,000, that's low. $25,000 a year. After 40 years, that's $1 million. So it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. But let's say that at 25, you start putting $400 a month aside towards your retirement with a great rate of return. Let's keep it low at 7%, right? After 40 years, you'll have $1 million. But if you start at 40, right, for the same $400 a month at 7% return, you'll have to put $1,000 aside. I'm sorry. You have to put $1,000 aside at 7% return if you start at 40, so that at retirement you have $1 million, if that's your goal. Now, everybody doesn't need or doesn't want $1 million for retirement. I'm just saying. I'm just giving you some numbers to show you the importance of why the sooner you start, or the earlier you start, the better it is. Let's not depend on the government, family members. No, go back to work after retirement, right? That's my biggest beef. So what's the takeaway from that? The sooner you start, the better it is. It doesn't matter if it's $50 a month. It doesn't matter if it's $50 per paycheck. The thing is, the sooner you start, just like if you have a goal of buying a car, or just like you have a goal to be in the Olympics or to build muscle, the sooner you start, the better prepared you are when the time gets there, right? Now, I know I speak kind of fast sometimes, but I know you can understand me. I know you can watch the replay. I know you need to make some notes, and I know that you know how to reach me and all social media. So I'm Ellie Mae, right, your financial coach. But the conclusion that I want to, leave with you tonight is that you need to take control of your finances, and that includes your retirement plan. In other words, when you're working in on your budget, as we've been talking about budgeting and getting rid of things that you don't need, or impulse buying, one of the main things that go in your budget besides your utilities is your retirement, and that is called paying yourself first. So tomorrow we'll speak about paying yourself first and the importance of it, right? So if you start in small increments, it's easier than to wait till you're 60 and you're going to retire at 67. You understand what I'm saying? So now don't throw the phone at me. Don't tell me that, oh, I didn't know all of this information. That's what I'm here for, to educate you about information, because I know, I didn't know a lot of these things, right? And like I told you the other day, you go back a couple of days in my live sessions, why I do what I do, because when I realized how jacked up I was when I thought, well, not me, my finances, when I thought I was doing well, I then realized, if not only me, how many of my peers, how many people in my own community might be going through the same thing. That's why it's my job to come every day and educate you about something that has to do with finances. So the what I want you to do is to take control. start small steps and start working on your retirement. And we could create a personalized plan. You could contact me, like you could send me a messenger, text on my business line 904-420-2211, and we can make a personalized plan for you and your spouse so that you know where you at and how to reach where you want to be at retirement. Anyway, that's it for now. Looking forward to speaking to you tomorrow. Bye for now.